with Cinema. Welcome back to War with Cinema. I'm your host, Greg, your local metalhead, and with me is...
Par the Collector.
Alright, and today, it's my turn to give Nick a movie.
What a joy it was.
I gave him 2013's Enemy by Dennis...
Villeneuve?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Something
Hopefully
like
I didn't
that.
butcher it too bad.
He's the director of movies like Prisoners.
That was a good movie.
He did Arrival.
I didn't see that one.
He did the new Blade Runner 2048.
Yeah, well, I'm going to hopefully you got that on the list for me. I'm going to watch that one.
Yeah. So what did you... I'm not going to talk about the movie. I want to hear what you thought about this movie before I even say anything.
Well, I will say this. When I first started watching it, I thought to myself, like, all right, maybe Greg didn't swing for the fences this first go around. Like, he gave me a movie it's a little bit of a thinker. Kept me on the edge of my seat, you know. I kind of was guessing the whole time, like, it's going to be this, it's going to be that, and what it actually turned out to be, or what I guess I'm interpreting it out to be, was far from it. So, yeah, like, I like Jake Gyllenhaal, and he acts in this one too, man. He plays that nervous, crazy guy very well.
Yeah.
And did it 2 times in the same movie.
Yeah.
So
I love it. He plays 2 separate, like, completely different characters in this movie.
yeah, I kept thinking the whole time, like, this. Yeah, they're like long lost brothers, or he's like a clone.
So what was your interpretation of the movie?
I really didn't understand why it was called Enemy. Like, I felt like the first 45 minutes of it should have been called Fascination, because this guy's just living this, you know, dread, you know what I mean? Like, just kind of going through life, you know, doing the same thing every day, being a history teacher, which I guess could be pretty exhausting anyways, talking about stuff that happened over and over.
Yeah. History repeating itself.
Exactly, and he mentions that, you know, and he keeps living it, and it's just like, wow, that's deep right there. That's good little filmmaking right there. But
so this movie isn't fair. Like,
it's not. It doesn't pay off, man. Like,
no. For this to be like you watch it once and talk about it, like, it's not a fair assessment.
Yeah, because
this is one of those movies you have to watch a handful of times.
But why would you?
I've seen this at least 10 times.
I mean, you own it, so that makes sense to me. Like,
I love this movie so
much.
It's
It's not a bad made movie, but it's one of those movies that if you like making up your own ending, you like making up your own plot. Yeah, okay.
So this is, like you said, this is one of those, like, think pieces kind of thing. It's a movie you kind of have to figure out.
It's a thriller. It's suspense, and some. Like I said, I don't want to get into too much of it because I have notes.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm not going to leave you in suspense too much. I've done heavy research on this movie. I watched it a bunch of times. I've tried to figure it out on my own. And I'll give you an oversimplification of this movie.
Please do.
It's about a man who's obsessed with sex and can't stop cheating on his wife, his pregnant wife.
Okay, so I got that from the other guy.
Nope. It's one guy.
He's not 2 people?
Nope. It's Jake Gyllenhaal playing 2 versions of the same guy.
But they talk to each other. You, like, see them.
But you only see them talking to each other when they're alone. You never see them talking to each other when anybody else is around.
So you're thinking, oh, okay, we'll see. That brings a new level to it because that makes a lot more sense. See, I was looking at it straight up, like, like just the pure coincidence, because they say everybody has a doppelganger out there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it didn't seem out of the realm of possibility that these dudes just look fucking similar. Yeah. Shit, I seen something like that on Snapchat not too long ago. These 2 dudes, no connection, nothing, but they looked like they were born same bloodline. Like, they looked like they could have been brothers.
Yeah, the thing about this movie is it has a lot of sprinkled in things throughout the movie to let you know it's just one guy.
Right.
For one, they have the same scar.
Yeah, that kind of threw me for a loop.
The director does some interesting stuff. Like, the first time they talk on the phone, the history teacher, Jake Gyllenhaal, goes into the bathroom. When their conversation's over, the actor Jake Gyllenhaal actually comes out of the bathroom. It's just a nice little like nod, like, hey, these are kind of the same guy. He's basically talking to himself.
So when he's the teacher, he's just slumming in some.
That is his. Well, that's to touch on what you were talking about before. Like, history repeats itself. Right. That is a common theme in this movie. Like, where it begins and where it ends is a constant for him.
Right.
So
okay. So if he's the same guy, what about when he's drilling her in the hotel room, and she feels his wedding ring, dead skin? She said, "I've never felt that before," and he's like, "I've had this the whole time."
Yeah, that's it's one of those things. Like, it's vague. Like,
we're just supposed to skip that plot point. Like,
no, I think he was trying to say something. Like, that's probably the first time she felt it. Like, he's always had it, but.
Because when you said it's the same guy, like, I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, like, that makes sense. Like, it's really the married guy's life, and he's kind of created this alter ego, or
the alter ego, the history teacher guy, is who he wants to be. He doesn't want to be this person that cheats on his wife all the time. He really wants to get away from it, but it's his addiction. Like, women is his addiction, which I just want to touch on something really quick before we move on. Another really cool thing that he sprinkled in that I didn't catch this the first few times, but in one of the signs, whenever Jake Gyllenhaal gets out of the car, there's a sign behind him, and there's the word satellite, but it's only spelled with one L instead of two, and that's a nice little, like, two is one kind of nod. Like, he obviously put that in there purposely because it's so, like,
I probably saw it. You don't, because I know what you're saying, but, like, yeah, it's
just one of those, like, he put it in there. You might notice it, you might not. I didn't notice it.
I probably remember seeing a sign of some sort, but like, any kind of meaning from it.
And also in the beginning of the movie, there's like a little quote, and it says, "Chaos is the order yet undeciphered," which is basically this movie. It's just chaos. He scrambles up this story, but once you put it together, it's order. It makes sense, kind of thing.
Yeah, it didn't.
So, so let's get to the spiders, because that's like one of the biggest.
Oh god, dude! I even had a note. I had a note on the spiders. I'm starting to think you're like John Peters, and I'm Kevin Smith. Like, you just got to get the spider in there.
Yeah, right.
Because you had me watch Kroll the other day, and that's a note I put in there too. I said, "What's with the fucking spiders, Greg?"
So, what did you think of the spiders? Like,
where do they come from? Like, I felt dumb because, like, I kept looking, because at first when it shows the overview of the city and it shows the really big one walking around, it kind of caught me, and I'm like, okay, what am I missing?
Yeah. So let's take it back, actually. So my interpretation of the film is it actually takes place in his subconscious. Like, this is actually a story played out in a man's subconscious.
So, yeah.
And that's, to harpen back to what you were saying, enemy. What does enemy mean?
Right.
You are your own worst enemy.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's what I think the title comes from.
If they would have even just give you a 5-second before it went to credits of it just zooming out and he's just a dude sitting on a park bench or some shit, like, that would have even...
Well, they kind of do it in the poster. It shows Jake Gyllenhaal. I don't know if you've seen the poster, but it shows Jake Gyllenhaal's head. It shows the city of Toronto, and then the spider, the big spider on top of that. So all that's, like, in his head. So it's kind of like he's saying, like, all this is taking place in his head.
Okay.
So they kind of had it, but it was in the poster. So if you didn't see it, then...
Yeah.
But people talk about the color of the movie. Like, it's all yellow.
Shit, I thought it was dark. I put that as a note too.
Dark,
like, it's just like, I was like, I had to turn off all the lights so I could see it good,
Yeah, that's what I think he was going for artistically, was the yellow hue, was to make it feel like it was in his subconscious. That's just my personal interpretation of the movie.
Okay, one thing I wanted to touch on, and it doesn't have any to do with one thing in particular plot-wise. It's just the fact that I just noticed it through the whole thing. The ominous, like, suspenseful music would just start for no reason, and then, like, nothing would happen. Like, I mean, stuff would happen, but nothing that it was like, so why do we have the music?
Yeah.
I kept wondering about that.
The music just added so much atmosphere. It was an amazing score. Like, I say amazing a lot. Like, I listened to our first couple of episodes, and I'm like, it's amazing. But
you're a musician first.
But no, the music was really great. I think it played into it actually made me not think about the music. When I don't think about the music and I just feel it, that's a good score.
Yeah, and maybe that was what but it was distracting to me just because like I just kept I kept thinking like, okay, we're building to like a fucking truck's gonna come out of nowhere and hit this dude or something. But the car crash,
yeah,
that was cool. And I don't think there was any music for that shit.
So let's get back to the spiders.
Yeah,
so the spiders are symbolism.
Teach me about spiders.
They symbolize women, his addiction to women. Wow. Every time you see a spider, it's in reference to a woman. Like in the very beginning of the movie, he's in this like underground sex.
Yeah,
thing.
I was wondering about that. I thought that was kind of random.
Yeah, and she's stepping on the spider, which can symbolize a bunch of things. Yeah. But for me, it was him wanting to crush that part of himself. Like, I don't want to be this person. Like, crush the spider. Like, the spider is his obsession with women. The next time you see a spider, it's the girl with the spider face that's walking by him
in the dream. Yeah,
but in the next scene, it's him like it's history teacher, which is the good Jake Gyllenhaal, staring at this lady that appears to be like a hooker or sex worker or something like that. But the way he's looking at her is like longfully. Right. Like he wants her. Mm-hmm. So there you go. And I'll touch on this a little bit later, but whenever he's talking to his mother, immediately after, you see the big spider.
Yeah.
It's the mother spider. Yeah. So.
Okay, well that makes more sense now.
Yeah. So now, at the end of the movie, there's another spider. And this is the big spider that's scared. Like, it's acting terrified of him.
Because it's about to have his psychotic ass baby.
Let's not jump to the ending too much. Let's talk about the movie a little bit more. Like, dissect it a little bit.
My bad.
No, you're good.
Yeah, like I said, man, I didn't hate it. Like, it had potential to me.
That's what I love about this movie is it doesn't feel like one of those think pieces, art house, like super art house movies. Like you can't figure it out. Like he really knows how to tell a good story and like draws you in. Like
he really did. He really did. Like, you know, a lot of that stuff is not anything crazy.
Yeah,
like,
it's not too far fetched.
Just the way he portrayed it made you want to. He just kept saying, like, "All right, what's going on here?" You know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's what I love. That's why this is one of my favorite films, is because the acting is so good by everybody. Everybody's so great. Especially Jake Gyllenhaal. The cinematography.
That dude can act in anything. I don't give a shit what you... Yeah. Even Brokeback Mountain.
But everything else about the movie, I love. Like we were talking about, the score in the movie, I loved a lot. I think it was really well done.
I thought it was like underutilized for this movie. Like that would have been a good for like a different movie, one with a lot more like scare or pop to it. Like that would have been a much better score for.
Well, that's the thing; it's supposed to make you feel as uneasy as he is. He's battling himself.
Yeah, I put a note on that. Jake Gyllenhaal does a very good job of acting sketched out of his mind in this one. He really does. So where you want to go back through plot points? Like going through.
Well, that's the thing about this movie. It's so like all over the place. It's hard to like.
It really was.
Talk about it like scene by scene.
But you did say with the mother and everything, that lady did a good job.
She did.
She played like a good cold, like just.
Well, like I was gonna say earlier about the mother, I don't understand what the mother's purpose in the movie is, and from my understanding, because I watched it again recently, so I could be like refreshed for this podcast. Right. From what I got from it is his mother is what made him into what he is. Like he's addicted to sex, and somehow his mother is the one that like made him that way.
Yeah, because you can tell of how cold she is, and she's like, I don't want to hear anything about this.
Yeah,
I don't want to hear it again. She probably like he's just trying to get that love back.
Yeah, he has a really weird relationship with his mother.
It's usually how most of those dudes are that are sex, addictive and stuff like that, sex addiction and stuff.
Yeah, but I wish they would have. I wish he would have like touched on it a little bit more because it's so vague. It's hard to even like think about.
Yeah, it's a scene that they put in that, you know, felt like it needed to happen though, because like, you know, when it says mother on the call, and he looks over at it, the look he gets on his face is just like hatred.
Yeah, exactly.
Disgust, you know. Like, it's good they put that in there.
And that was the very like last note that I have is like, is his mother the reason he's like this?
Probably.
Like, because that's the only reason I can think of why she's in it so much. Like, she plays a part in his life.
Well, and now that you're giving me the whole spider angle,
yeah,
being women, like, it definitely, like, because, you know, it's portraying the spider to be like,
yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? The overhanging figure or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah,
he has like somewhat control of the spider. I don't know. It's really weird to talk about. But there's so many like. But also, I love the spider reference too, because a spider's web traps their prey, and that's kind of what he is. He's the prey trapped by women, and females. And female spiders kill male spiders after they mate. So it's a really good symbolism. I love it a lot.
I put this in my notes. One great scene that I thought was awesome, and like I was really upset that it was wasted on this shit movie. When he's in the mirror and he's looking at it and he's like, "Did you fuck my wife? Did you sleep with my wife?" And then he starts saying this, and then he's like, "Yes." And he smiles that eerie ass smile, and he's like, "That's fucking great."
Yeah.
I'm thinking like, all right, this dude's just getting ready for a movie part, and then he literally goes to the apartment and says the same shit.
Yeah.
To himself.
Yep.
See, man, I don't like the fact that it's the one guy, because that's like a Fight Club thing.
Yeah.
But not, you know.
It is, but that's kind of the point of the movie. Like I said, the title of the movie, You Are Your Own Worst Enemy, and there's him fighting himself, like two parts of himself.
See, but that's why I liked it when it was two guys, because I was like, these two random people, through chance and curiosity, have made themselves enemies. Like, I thought that would have been a better way to go about it. Like,
yeah, but that's a different movie.
Like, you think I fucked your pregnant wife? Like, that's terrible, so you're going to fuck my girlfriend? Because you looked exactly like me?
One thing I loved about that part that I never really recognized the first couple of times is he never admits to not fucking his wife. He's like, "Did you fuck my wife?"
Oh,
He's like,
yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about. He's like, "Man, whatever." Like, he doesn't admit to fucking his wife, and that's another like nod.
Are
like,
you
it's
fucking
the same
crazy?
Guy.
And then he's like, "Am I fucking crazy?"
Yeah.
That was a good one too. Yeah, Gyllenhaal could go from 0 to 60 quick.
Yeah.
He turns it on like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is harping back to the history repeats itself. So basically the story is he has cheated on his wife before, because she makes the comment, "Is that her again?"
Right. It was a man.
Yeah. So he's cheated on his wife before. He's trying to change that side of him, and that's when history teacher meets up with the actual wife. And
no, she goes looking for him.
Yeah. She goes to his school, because
that's another thing that makes no sense if it's the same guy. So this dude was working two jobs. He was just acting in movies and teaching history during the day.
His mom said, "I'm glad you gave up that third-rate acting career." That means he tried to be an actor, but it was like a big failure. Right. So he's actually a history teacher.
So he was in a couple shitty movies.
Yeah. And
then when he made the other personality, he thinks it's a new person.
Basically, that's where this whole like chaos.
Fight Clubbed it.
Yeah.
Was this? Yeah, this definitely came out after Fight Club.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
But it has like a different spin to it.
Oh yeah, well definitely. I mean, I'm not saying it, but the fact of the split personality thing.
Yeah.
Huh.
But that's what I love about this movie is like it doesn't give it to you.
Oh no.
You have to like really think and like figure it out. Like, damn, that's probably the same guy, but they don't spoon feed it to you, and that's what I loved.
I thought you didn't like plot holes, man.
There is no plot holes.
What are you talking about? Like, I don't know. Like you just said, it didn't tell you, it didn't give you anything. You have to.
It's not a plot hole. It's you figuring the shit out. Everything.
But I already paid my money to see it. Like, why would I have to figure it out? Is that y'all's job?
That's why I love these kind of movies. I love those movies that, like, you have to go back and watch again and try to, like, figure out what the director was trying to say.
I feel like this is one of those movies, it's like Sixth Sense. Like, after you watch it the first time, you're just like, well, no Bruce Willis is dead the whole time, so I don't have to watch that shit again.
Well, that's what's great about this movie is, okay, so you see the spider at the end.
Yeah.
The spider's scared of him, and he has this sense of, like, he sighs. Like, oh God, not this again. Which means he's going back to his old self. Like, he can't get away from that no matter how hard he tries. He's always going to be that sex-addicted guy.
But that side of him didn't die in the car crash with the girl?
He tried to kill it. That's where, like, parts like this become vague, because him crashing the car was him trying to kill that side of him. Like, right. And it weaves in scenes with the history teacher and the wife.
It was good editing.
Yeah. It was really good.
You know what I mean?
Definitely. And it made it feel like, wow, he's really trying to kill this side of him. He wants to be this good person for his wife.
Right.
So when you see the car crash, you're like, yeah, he conquered himself. When you look at the movie this way, anyway. You're like, good, he conquered himself. He's going to be this good guy. He opens the package. He sees the key to the sex club. And he has this look on his face like, maybe I will check it out. He's going back to his old self. That's when he sees the spider. Spider's scared of him because it's like, oh, you're never going to change, no matter how hard I want you to. And then he's like, shit, I'm never going to change. And that's where the history repeats itself, and you can start the movie over. We're back at square one.
That's a mind fuck, dude.
I love it.
It really is.
Yeah.
That's why we're doing this, because that hurt my brain even trying to, put that
But now
all together.
that you, like, if you watch that movie again,
going
into this mindset, like, it'll make so much more sense to you, and you're like, fuck, this movie is really fucking great. Like, it's really trying to say something.
Let me ask you something. Like, you liked it that much the first couple times you watched it? Like, you loved it that much that's what made you research into it that much more?
Yeah, exactly. This is one of those movies. Okay.
I think that was the problem for me. I loved what I was seeing and took it for what it was, but at the end, the thing pissed me off so much.
I think my subconscious is smarter than my non-subconscious, because I watched this movie, and by the end of it, and I'm like, I love this movie. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But I love this movie.
Well, that's what I said. I mean, it's not bad filmmaking. The dude shot the shit out of this movie.
Yeah, so I could tell the director was trying to say something.
Right.
I kind of knew it had something to do with sex addiction, and I had the basic idea of it. But I really had to do a bunch of research and looking into it, and that made me like it more. And once I started to get those plot points, like I was telling you, like people were doing, think pieces on this movie, analyzing it. I went back and rewatched the movie with that mindset, and I loved it so much more. I'm like, this guy did such a good job telling this somewhat seems convoluted story.
Right. Like I said, I didn't think it was so bad that it was like, I regret watching it. Because, I'll say this, like, Jake Gyllenhaal did such a good job in it, and the director, even though I didn't really like his overall approach to it, he still shot a good movie, and it had good things in it, good elements to it. If they did another movie together, I would definitely watch that.
Yeah, I'm glad you can appreciate it, though. Like,
that's I mean, like I said, like, just because I don't agree that it's a great movie or a good movie even, it doesn't mean that I can't take something out of it that I didn't enjoy.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, there's some movies out there that I may not love it, like, it's just, I love that movie, but there's like, I like that movie. It's okay. You know what I mean? It was different.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I liked a couple things out of it, and then there was a lot where I was just like, fuck you, Greg.
Yeah, I kind of figured. That's why I was like, I can't wait for you to watch Enemy and we talk about it. Cause...
Like I said, I just kind of felt dumb. I was like, man, this guy's trying to tell me I'm not smart.
No, because I was the same way after watching it, but I loved everything else so much, it made me want to look into it more.
It did, yeah. And I'm glad that you did, because, like, you threw some points at me that does change it, that I would go back and watch it again just to see if I could pick up on some of that stuff you're talking about. But like I said, that's so much work. Maybe that's why I didn't enjoy it so much, because I'm simple like that. Like, just feed me my movie. You know what I mean? Make me laugh.
No. I completely get it.
Happy.
It's like, you don't...
Send me on my way.
It's like somebody gives you a puzzle, shows you what the picture is, and it's like, all right, now figure it out.
Yeah, and there are a couple movies like that I do enjoy, but I guess it was just the way they did the puzzle this time, the way they pieced it together.
No, I said that wrong. It's like somebody gave you a puzzle, but didn't show you what the end picture looked like, and they're like, put the puzzle together.
Oh yeah, that is more difficult.
Yeah, that's more a better analogy. But that's what I love about, I don't know. I just love looking into certain kind of movies that aren't spelled out, like a couple of movies I didn't even talk about on the first intro was like David Lynch movies. Like his movies are so out there, and you have to like really sit down and analyze them to figure them out.
What's some of the ones he does?
He did Eraserhead, Mulholland Drive, Velvet Blue. He did the Twin Peaks show.
Mulholland Drive isn't bad.
Yeah, you think so?
I don't think it's a bad movie.
You haven't seen it in so long.
It's exactly what I'm thinking. I'm gonna scraping the bottom of the barrel.
I'm gonna make you rewatch it and be like, I remember that movie being good, but now not so much. Any other notes you want to?
Yeah, that's what I was looking through here just to see. I talked about. I thought they might have been twins at birth, separated at birth. Thought about dual personalities.
That's another one that people talk about is dual personality. Like it is the same guy, but he has two personalities, and he's switching between the two. And that's where the wife comes in. Whenever she sees the history teacher for the first time, she's so like broken up
because it's him.
Yeah, she's like, it's him, but it's not. He's not being himself.
Oh yeah, and then you notice that she calls his phone and he doesn't pick it up until after the history teacher had walked
off frame.
Exactly.
I love that.
And that's when I was like, they're fight clubbing me. They're fight clubbing me.
Yeah.
But I also put in here, man. Side note, that French chick from Inglourious Bastards, so hot. Like,
yeah.
God, she kills it. I don't know what it is about her, but she's good looking girl.
Yeah.
And oh yeah, and the thing about the wife, like now that we've talked about it more, but I had it in the notes, like why does she seem like she understands what's wrong with his ass half the movie?
Yep.
And then the other half, she's just completely lost like he is. Like at the end when she's like, how was school today?
Yeah, exactly. So there's theories that she knows that he has double personalities.
Right.
And she's playing into the...
Like maybe she's just like, well, maybe the history teacher side will take over.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
She's hoping for the best.
That's who she wants him to be, and that's who he wants to be.
Yes. And it's also, it's much more believable to be that he was tried to be an actor, failed at it, and got into the teaching history, and that's what his job was, and the mundaneness of his everyday life is what created that. And maybe because of the sex addiction, both of them together is what made him break down, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, when she says, "I want you to stay,"
yeah, that's.
I'm like, okay, well, she's either figured out the other guy, or
I took it as in she wants this personality to stay.
Yes.
Like, I want you to stay this person. Like,
yeah,
please.
See, that makes more sense now. Before, like, I was taking it more literal. Like,
yeah.
I know.
Well, that's the thing. He sets this movie up as being literal, but then when you, like, start to break it apart, you're like, oh, it's the same person. And then you, like, it completely changes the movie.
Yeah, I and the spiders, like I said, I had to note about the spiders because I was like, this guy's John Petersing me. I felt like Kevin Smith. He's like, what's the guys at Warner Brothers? Like, did he ask about the fucking spiders? Like, that's because, like I said, I watched Crawl. That was like the widow of the web. Like, I'm not gonna get into that too much, folks, because that's another argument for another day. But unless the last 30 minutes of Kroll really just picks up and kicks my ass with awesomeness, we're gonna have a good argument that day too.
About spiders.
Spiders.
I'm just gonna find all my spider movies.
Greg and fucking spiders. Like, you ever seen 8-Legged Freaks with David Arquette? You probably fucking love that, don't you? If I got it on Blu-ray.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, and I put my overall opinion. It had a chance in the first hour and 15 minutes, and because it is an hour and 30, the last 15 is where he lost me as far as like whether I would really love it or hate it. You know, like I said, there's good things about it. That's what I pulled. But I said my overall grade. It's not the worst movie I've ever seen, but it's definitely won't be watching it again anytime soon.
Yeah.
Because that's too much thinking, man. It's too much research into an ending.
I loved it. I loved every research that I went into this movie.
Like, I don't even want to watch Dunkirk because of how bad the ending of Interstellar is. Like,
that's true.
Spoon feed me my shit, man. But
my rating, I mean, I'm rating my own movie.
Yeah.
It's top 10.
Well, I rated Vacation.
It's in my top 10 favorite movies of all time.
Like, top 10 favorite of all time.
Top 10 of all time.
I'm glad we're recording this. Mm-hmm. So, after we do this for a little while, and we've done at least 12 movies.
And I'm still saying
and
top 10.
And you say this is my top 10. I'm saying, all right, now who's killing enemy to get out of that top 10?
Right. No, but this one is like solid top 10. Like, I love it that much.
All right. Well, like I said, I'm glad we're doing this because that lets me know that we are truly different in opinion. Because while there was things I appreciated, not one of my favorites. So
well, at least I gave you a chance to watch it.
You did, and
because I don't think you would have otherwise.
Oh no. Even Gyllenhaal, like I said, just the cover alone would have threw me off. Like I like Gyllenhaal, but I don't like what he's doing right there. But yeah.
So we're still trying to get we're still trying to get our footwork on figuring this thing out. And the next movie you have for me is it's a Bruce Lee movie.
Oh yeah, Game of Death.
Yeah. I don't think I'm going to hate it, but it's one I haven't seen, and I'm kind of...
I will say this, man. If you love a Bruce Lee movie for what it is, just ass kicking and being Bruce Lee, then you're going to love it. But
see, this is where I feel really bad, because I haven't seen a lot of Bruce Lee movies. I've seen 2 Bruce Lee movies, which is a crime against humanity.
Yeah, but I mean, not everybody's into Kung Fu, and then everybody goes through stages.
That's the thing. Like, I love Kung Fu movies, but I have not watched nearly enough as much as I should.
Bruce Lee is the OG of Kung Fu, to me anyways. Him and, like, Sonny Chiba. And, like, yeah, that's what made me get into Jackie Chan so much when I was in my teenage years was because of my dad showing me Bruce Lee when I was a kid.
Let's hold all this for the next episode because that will be our next episode.
Game of Death.
And we will see you then. Later.